For those of us who live in the diaspora, we sometimes wonder what is the reason why the continent of Africa still lags behind when it comes to economic development. I know that Africa is not the only place where there are issues, and I also know that over recent decades there has been a lot of progress in Africa, where many countries have grown significantly, economically speaking, and that's why we've heard of Africa Rise. But overall, there are still a lot of issues that ought to be addressed, and for many of us who care about the continent and who are concerned about what needs to be done to improve the destiny of the people of Africa, both in the continent as well as in the diaspora, we ought to ask ourselves these questions. Well, the issues in Africa are obviously multifaceted. There are many problems stemming from different roots. As far as I'm concerned, all of these things can be summarized in just one sentence. The issues we have in Africa stem from the way we think, the way we behave, and the way we relate to not just each other, but also to the rest of the world. So our thinking, our behaviors, and our relationships are where we ought to be able to focus our attention to bring about solutions to change Africa in a very deep and impactful way. Sure. Now, when you think of corruption, what is the source of corruption in Africa? Why are our leaders so corrupt? And this has not started yesterday. It has been ongoing for decades. And in many countries, why African leaders are so corrupt? Well, I believe it's not just a political problem. It's deeper than that. It's a social problem, a societal problem, a social cultural issue that needs to be addressed. There is a need for a new mindset in the African continent, a shift in paradigm, new ways of thinking that are suited to the 21st centuries. I know corruption exists everywhere, even here in Australia, where I live, but it's a different level. In Africa, it's just devastating. How do we minimize corruption? It's a very serious question that deserve sufficient attention and deep thinking. But I think all of it comes down to reprogramming the African mind, which is why this video is entitled Reprogramming the African Mind. We need to look at what's inside the African mindset, what are the influencing factors that are leading to the type of societies that we have and the leaders that we are producing or the leaders that we are accepting, because some of these leaders get imposed on us by foreign powers, but we still have the power to resist these imposed leaders. So corruption is not just a political problem, it's much deeper than that. And those of us in the diaspora or in the continent who care for the future and destiny of our continent ought to be able to reflect and propose new ways of thinking, propose avenues of reflection, and looking at how we can reprogram the African mindset, not just in the continent, but here in the diaspora, because I believe the future of Africa is going to significantly be affected by what the diaspora communities are able to do to influence positive change in the continent. Thank you very much.